Department to maintain my Act 120 certification. So I'm still active law enforcement. I got into law enforcement here in Beaver County because I grew up as a young boy here, and I got to see problems, and I got to see some of the things that policemen do, and I decided that that's the route that I wanted to take. I wanted to do what policemen do. And in that course of 25 years, I became a member of the Beaver County Anti-Drug Task Force. I was also recruited for the Beaver County ESU Emergency Services Unit, which is the county's elite tactical unit for critical emergencies. And dealing with those two agencies outside of Rochester, because they're directed under the district attorney's office, I've got to meet a lot of other policemen throughout the county. I know firsthand a lot of knowledgeable people in law enforcement and had law enforcement experiences with pretty much every municipality that has a law enforcement agency here in Beaver County. I've worked these streets of Beaver County. I have run through yards throughout Beaver County chasing down drug dealers. I've arrested prostitutes on the very streets that kids walk on right now. I have spent 25 years in law enforcement working right here in Beaver County. And doing that, I've had an opportunity to see where some of the failures are in law enforcement and in Beaver County. Throughout the United States, on a national level, we see breakdowns with the incident in Ferguson. I'm sure that the news media has gotten it all out to you. And you see this type of behavior, and everybody questions law enforcement, and it gives us a black eye. And a lot of people don't understand the training that law enforcement goes through and why they do the things that they do. And then we have Monday morning quarterbacking that wants to put blame on the officer like in Ferguson before anybody even heard his side of the story. So education is a huge part of trying to prevent things like that. And I really believe that a lot of it starts with the cultural differences we have in trying to create some association with the public and our law enforcement. And I believe a lot of that starts with our youth. It starts with home, with the way that they're brought up, the respect for their peers, the respect for the law, and we just don't see that anymore. Things can be done to help change that. And I've seen experiences at firsthand through some of the DARE programs that have been offered. I've seen it, the Sheriff's Department in the past, under previous administration, had a camp deputy where they would take time and spend it with the kids. They would take them fishing. They would teach them about camping. They would actually spend times to the point where some of the unfortunate children didn't even have an opportunity because maybe they didn't have a father or the family surroundings. They didn't have that available to them to actually benefit from. Now, those are some of the things that can be done to bridge the gap with our society and our cultural differences. And I've experienced that firsthand here in Beaver County. And when you ask what my qualifications are for being the sheriff of Beaver County, I would take that at another level is to, in my 10 years as a policeman, I've been involved in policy and procedure development and implementation. I've worked with budgetary constraints, doing things that would have merely been impossible, but found ways to work around them whenever the money wasn't there. And that can result from getting donations to getting very creative to writing grants. And one of the things I've done for Rochester was went after a grant here in Beaver County that secured 2 policemen with all of their costs, right down to their very insurance coverage, was paid for by the Department of Justice for 2 policemen in Rochester Borough for 3 full years. Those are the things that it takes initiative to make law enforcement agencies work. Now, the law enforcement agency, the Sheriff's Department, as a whole, its foundation is truly the Constitution of our United States and of Pennsylvania. And if that falters and is not followed, the rest of the structure is going to fall and fail. And when you're not following the Constitution, you're only setting yourself up for failure, regardless of who is running the operation. Now, when you take everything that I have said and put it together, and you look for an individual who wants to better the county, because you've got to see where the faults are, you've got to see where the problems are, and you see where the weaknesses are. And I don't mean just weaknesses because of money, because of particular municipalities. I mean the weaknesses even in the laws. I mean, I've taken many prisoners to the county jail over here in Aliquippa, and weeks later taking those same people back because it's a revolving door. Now, what does that do for the quality of life here in Beaver County, for the people who live here? We're constantly dealing with redundant problems, and we're not fixing them. When it comes to administration, and you know that problems exist, and if there's any attorneys here, I'm sure you're familiar with the terms deliberate indifference and vicarious liability. Meaning, if you take and you do not act on something that's been brought to your attention, you can be civilly or criminally held liable for it, you and everybody in your administrative staff. I feel that some of the ideas I have, if implemented, and I have a long list of them, could save Beaver County a lot of grief, a lot of redundant problems, and make a better quality of life for people here in Beaver County. And when you look at the money aspect of it, has anybody here ever even considered looking at the expenditures that we put into certain situations? And I'm just going to leave you with this, and ask yourself this question. In the county jail, 2 points to be made. First of all, the sheriff of Beaver County sits on the prison board. So he does have a say-so in impacting local crime, over and above what much people believe you're just nothing more than a paper pusher. But knowing that and having that administrative position in the prison board, and you see the repeat offenders and the revolving door going on throughout this county, know this. Nowhere in Beaver County, other than Beaver Falls and I think Monaca, and New Brighton still may do it. If a law enforcement officer has to deal with an intoxicated person that is a nuisance to society and a danger to himself and others, we have a jail facility up there that, unless it's something more serious other than a summary offense, we don't have a drunk tank. We have no place to take somebody like that and deal with them. It's the officer's responsibility and the municipality's liability to deal with that individual, and it takes a policeman off the street. And a lot of people didn't know that, even in your own towns, especially towns that only have maybe 1 or 2 policemen on duty. Heed to that, the expense that we pay for that jail. Think of this. We have at probably any given time, give or take 2 to 10 prisoners, right around 365 inmates in the county jail per year. They're there on your tax dollar. You're the victim of them being there, and it's coming out of your pocket. Now, we feed them 3 times a day. You do. You pay for that. At approximately $1 a meal, 3 times a day, 365 inmates. You do the math. $1 a day, 3 times a day. Each person times 365 inmates times 365 days in a year. You're talking $365,000 in food that you are paying for to put in the mouths of criminals. Would you think that if somebody would take an approach to try to reduce that cost, that it may benefit law enforcement, it may benefit you, the taxpayer? But there's a lot of expenditures going on that people don't even evaluate, that you're unaware of. And if I'm elected sheriff, that's what I want to do. I want to take the lead for some of the people here in Beaver County. Use the things that I've learned on the streets, where I have seen the weaknesses and failures throughout Beaver County in 25 years of working in Beaver County, and make them totally turn around 180 degrees and make them more beneficial to you. I want to be a leader in the agency of the Sheriff's Department that is for the people. And when I say that, I mean at the heart. I'm a constitutionalist, and I have no problem, if need be, stepping aside from government and law and standing behind the people of our communities against tyrannical government and anti-constitutional laws. I ask for your support so I can go to work for you. Thank you. God bless you all.